sorrow and dead in my sin. Lost without hope, with no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began. Ash was redeemed, only beauty.
I'm Brett Schaefer. I'm from Chillicothe, Missouri. Next year I plan on going to the University of Central Missouri and majoring in biology and pre-medicine and running track for the UCM track team. I first really started attending the United Methodist Church at the church service probably this last fall, 2017, with Walker Graves and his family. Before that, I went to Christ for Life a few times with Walker and Jack Willard and all those guys. I really enjoyed the family atmosphere and seeing everybody from around the community, around town every Sunday, and talking, especially after football games. It was fun to always talk with adults from around the community, and Coach Willard's there, so we kind of talk about the game, me, Walker, and Jack, and it was just a good family atmosphere. I would say my spirituality has really impacted my success on the sports side and the academic side. Whenever I'm having any troubles, I can look up a verse or a Bible story that relates to the situation I'm in. And I think that the church community in Chillicothe, in both my old church, the Presbyterian Church, and this church, has really impacted my life. I'd like to find a youth group at UCM to contribute to and be a member of. And hopefully I'm attending UCM with Trey Staten, and so hopefully we can find together some type of Christian community. And I'm not sure what kind of church communities they have down there in terms of service, but hopefully we can find one. I would say my mom and my dad have been the most influential people in terms of my faith. My mom and my dad have both read the Bible to me numerous times. All kinds of Bible stories growing up, and they really exposed me from a young age to be strong in my faith. I'd just like to add that I'm really thankful for the United Methodist Church and the church community for inviting me in with such open arms and welcoming me in this past fall. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy all your church services, and I enjoy communicating with all of you, and I just hope that I can come back someday and keep attending your service. Thank you.
I am Morgan Grable. My parents are Melissa and Shannon Grable, and after I graduate, I'll be attending the University of Missouri, and I will major in early childhood education with an emphasis in special education and ag business. My history with UMC has been, I moved here the summer before my 4th grade year, and that summer I went to Sunday school and I met McKenna Poling, and she was very happy to meet a new face, and she was like, "Hi, I'm McKenna, what's your name, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm Morgan," and I'm kind of scared, but I didn't say that. Then I became very comfortable, and from then on I was involved in children's choir, God Squad. I've been to a mission trip, I've been to Christ for Life a couple times, and yeah. My favorite memory from UMC has been the summer before my freshman year. We went down to around Springfield, Missouri for a mission trip, and one of the nights there we didn't have a female chaperone, so in the girls' room it was just all us girls, and we were having so much fun, but then we got bored because we couldn't be on our cell phones and it was nighttime and we didn't know what to do. So all night we shined a flashlight onto the wall and I made finger puppets all night long, and that was our entertainment. That was pretty fun. The Chillicothe United Methodist Church has always supported me and impacted me because I've always felt like I have tons of support from everyone in the church. I feel like I have people other than my parents that care about me and want to know about my life, and I just feel like no matter what, I always have people that I can talk to and that care. When I go to college, I plan to continue attending church. I don't know where I will go to church at yet, but I've been trying out a couple churches in Columbia, and I'll choose one of them. My biggest role model for my faith has been Dave Rogers. He's always been so supportive about everything, and he's always in such a good mood, and he is always willing to talk about God or anything. And he used to come up to me and he'd be like, "Morgan, did you do any good in the world today?" And at first I'd be like, "Oh my goodness, I haven't done anything good today that I can remember. Like, what am I doing with my life? And then as he kept asking me, I would start doing better things throughout the day so that I could tell him. And he just really helped me build my faith and become a better person. I would just like to say that I will always remember my whole church congregation and everyone in it, and I will always come back and visit as much as I can, and thank you.
My name is Ben Han. My parents are Bill and Shelley Han, and next year I plan on going to Northwest Missouri State University to major in pre-law and to hopefully get into a law school. I've been involved with the Methodist Church since I was basically birthed. I was baptized. Actually, I remember my date. It was September 12th of 1999, and I've been involved with the church ever since. I went to preschool here for 3 years, and and the church family has just supported me through everything. And I've been part of the God Squad in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and I've been with Dustin ever since 6th grade. Teaching Sunday school has been a great experience for me. Dustin has really helped me, and Andrew, who teaches it with me, we go through and we really interact with the kids, and we get to know these middle schoolers who we really wouldn't know otherwise. And the mission trips have been a great impact on me. Have taught me a lot about other parts of the country that we've been to, and it's just totally eye-opening experience to see how other people live across the country. And my favorite memory with the church would have to be when Dustin, whenever we were in Springfield, told some youth leaders or whatever that he could eat a goldfish live, and they didn't believe him. And so during the talent show that we had toward the end of the mission trip, he bought a goldfish from somewhere, I don't know where, and he proceeded to eat the whole thing and just take it, just drop it in his mouth, and everyone was just so appalled, and it was crazy. I was almost like a little proud of him. The church has been there for me really my entire life, and especially a couple years ago with the passing of my grandfather. I remember going to the visitation here, I remember just walking by myself before everyone got there and looking at all the different flowers and who had sent them, and just everyone who my grandfather had impacted. And the church and all the staff and everything really helped us get through it, and everyone who officiated the service and everyone who helped with that was really supportive throughout the process. I've already taken steps to continue my faith through college through this flight training program that Dustin has put on. My current plans right now are to attend the Maryville United Methodist Church whenever I get to Maryville, and to find a good group of friends and other people that I can grow closer to God with. I would have to say my grandmother has had she has been the most faithful woman I have ever met, probably. She has done God Squad for the church. She has had a tremendous impact on our faith throughout our entire lives. And I remember when I was a little kid, I would go to her house to spend the night a lot, and she would make sure that we said our prayers every time we stayed the night out there. And it used to be every Wednesday after church. We'd be so excited. We'd go out there and we would have some milk at her house and just eat cereal and talk together. And before we lay down to rest, she would make us say our prayers. So she has been the most faithful woman I've ever met, and she continues to impact my faith today. I'd like to thank the church for their support of me throughout the past 18 years of my life, and to take me into their family. Some of you have known me forever, and I will definitely come back next year and see all of you again. And I plan on developing my faith and remembering you and praying for all of you.
Your love made a way to let
Hi, my name's McKenna Poling. My parents are Kelly and Angela Poling. After I graduate, I will be attending the Missouri State University studying. My major is going to be nursing and minor in criminal justice. My history through the United Methodist Church started when I was 3 years old. I attended preschool here for a year, and then I went to kindergarten. I was in God Squad. I was an acolyte for many years, and I was in the chancel choir when I grew older, and I also was in the children's choir when I was younger. I went through confirmation, and I've just been through the church through a lot. One of my favorite memories at the United Methodist Church was me and my friend Harley Jones. We were in the confirmation class, and we stayed in this big church, like in this big gym. Well, in the other room, there was a big box of snacks, and so we were hungry one night. I think it was after bedtime. Dustin told us to go to bed, and everyone was sleeping, but me and Harley were starving, and so we went to the other room to get the snacks. And we grabbed a lot. It was like Oreos, cheese. I remember the cheese balls and then Cheez-Its. It was just crazy. We got a lot of food. We brought it back, and then we just heard the sound, and I was like, Harley, what is that sound? And we look over, and one of our chaperones is snoring with her mouth open. And I was like, Harley, we were young, so we were doing stupid stuff. And so me and Harley were having a contest to see who could make a cheese ball in our chaperone's mouth. And sadly, we didn't end up getting one in there, just because I think we were both scared, and we eventually ate all the food and we went back to bed. When I go to college, there is actually another college in Springfield called Evangel College, and that's just like a church college, and so they have a lot of churches in Springfield, Missouri, and I actually have a couple friends down there that are actually attending church, so I plan to maybe hit them up and go to church with them on Sundays, and I plan to really stay focused on God throughout school. The church has been a major influence in my life. They have impacted my life greatly. I've had a lot of family members pass throughout my childhood, and ever since that has happened, you guys have made a big influence in my life. I know that I always can count on you, and it is just greatly appreciated what you guys have done for me and my family. I actually have two major influences on my spiritual growth. My number one is probably my grandma Estelle. Even though she couldn't actually talk to me, just because when I was little she had a stroke, and ever since then we never actually could communicate, but I always knew that God was her number one in her heart, so I knew I needed to make God number one in my heart. When I was a little girl, during church, I attended children's church, and Karen Hinton was actually our children's youth pastor, and ever since then she was the one that actually really started on answering my questions, what I had about the Bible or God, and she was always the one that really big influenced me on my spiritual growth, and those are my two people I think that really influenced me. I just want to thank you to the church for everything that you've done for me and my family. You guys have supported me, and I just want to thank you.
I'm Walker Graves, son of Jason and Andrea Graves, and next year I am attending Northwest Missouri State University, studying business and finance and playing football. I've been going to church here ever since I can remember. I was baptized here as a kid, and I was confirmed here as well. Favorite memory related to the church would be going on the St. Louis mission trip, visiting the homeless shelter, and getting to interact with all the homeless individuals there. There were a lot of great people there that really had a high influence on me. The church has supported me through the years because as an athlete, they have always been there for the highs and lows, and always when I show up on Sunday morning, they have always congratulated me on the win from that Friday night or from the basketball game the week before, or gave me encouragement to get through a tough loss that we had. Next year in college, I plan to continue to develop my faith through a United Methodist Church a little off campus in Maryville, Missouri. Someone who has been influential in my spiritual growth would probably be Dave Rogers. He has always been encouraging to me, and he's the first person I see usually on Sunday morning, and he always has a smile on his face, and he always is the first one to shake my hand and greet me in the morning, and I just look to him as a role model in my life. I can beat you in ping pong, Dave.
My name is Gunnar Young. I plan on attending the University of Arizona and being an environmental engineer, and my parents are Inger and Bill Young. I pretty much grew up in this church. I did Birthday Party for Jesus. I attend Sunday school to this day. I am in youth group. I did it middle school and high school. I've been through confirmation. I teach middle school, Sunday school now. I've done a bunch of mission trips. I didn't go my junior year, but every other year I have gone. So, my 6th grade year, we decided on our last day, it was our free day, so we decided to go to the Arch. Well, before that, we went to the Spaghetti Factory, and beach volleyball was playing on the TV in the restaurant. And I remember me walking up to Kyle Ross and like saying, we should do an Olympic sport together, because I loved the Olympics. And he said, yeah, sure. And then Wagner Chapman tagged along and was like, I could be your guys' backup. Hopefully we will get that team started and go to the Olympics. But after that happened, we went to the table and I was like, I'm gonna get some chocolate milk. So I drank about 6, 7, lost count, of glasses of chocolate milk. And my mom was there and she just looked at the waitress and was like, so I had water for the rest of the time. I didn't eat my lunch, but after that, we decided to go on the arch. And let's just say, it's a very rough ride up and back down. I didn't puke, but it was just not too fun for me. I plan on improving my faith on my campus, because about right next to campus there is a United Methodist Church that is stationed right next to it, and I plan on going to that for the rest of my college experience. So my two biggest role models would probably have to be Dustin Buell and Dave Rogers. Dave, probably because he was one of my Sunday school teachers, and also he came to youth group and we like bonded through that. We always tell like stupid jokes to each other and all that, and it's just a good time with him. And Dustin, because he was my first youth pastor, and I've always like talked to him, trying to like challenge him and stuff. The church has impacted my life a lot, actually. I was born into this church, and I also went into preschool here. I met all my friends here, and I learned how to branch off from that, and I've also brought more kids over to our church, and they seem to have a good time with it, and I have a good time with them. This is just like a really comfortable place for me to spend times with my friends and just have a good time. This joke is for Dave Rogers. A Spanish wizard walked up to me and he says, you wanna see a magic trick? And I said, sure, why not? And he says, I'm gonna disappear on the count of 3. 1, 2, and disappeared without a trace.
My name is Lexi Dickerson. My parents are Brooke and Amy Dickerson. And next year, I'm going to be going to NCMC into their nursing program. I first started coming to this church about 2 years ago. Since then, I went to the mission trip to Tuskegee, Alabama. And I also go to youth group here, and I'm doing flight training currently. My favorite memory here is probably either the Thanksgiving games that we had, because those were pretty interesting, or when we went on the mission trip, and like I was new at that point and I didn't really know anybody, and everybody was super welcoming, and I just felt very at home with all of the people here. The church has impacted my life by knowing that anytime that I need to talk to somebody, I feel comfortable with coming to them, and they can pray for me and keep me in their prayers, and all of my spiritual needs are like met here. To continue my faith throughout college, I currently am doing daily devotions, and that just helps me to continue in my faith and make sure that I am still headed on the right path. One of the biggest role models in my faith is my dad. He always pushes me to go to church and continue to be helpful throughout the church and to be involved in the church and to continue to grow in Christ. Thank you for letting me come to this church and being super welcoming even when we were new, and always being very glad to see us. Thank you.
My name's Andrew Englert. My parents are Brian and Melissa Englert, and next year I plan to attend the University of Kansas to study pharmacy. I've been attending this church ever since I can remember, and I've been involved in multiple ways through the Christ for Life youth group, confirmation, God Squad, Wednesday night Bible studies, breakfast Bible studies, all that. One of my favorite memories with this church would have to be on last year's mission trip. Went down to Tuskegee, Alabama, and we got down there fine, whole trip went fine, and we're driving back, and the bus breaks down. We're on the highway, and it starts spitting out dirt and stuff from the exhaust onto the luggage van behind us, and we're pulling on and off the shoulder, and Dustin's trying his best, and we eventually pull up to this block with like a hotel and a McDonald's and like a gas station, and we're camped out here for about 3 hours while Dustin goes to the airport to get a rental van so we can actually make it home. And we all went to McDonald's and just hung out there for a bit. And I remember even at one point some lady drove up to us and tried to give us some money to help us out. And it was a weird experience, but it was kind of fun. The church has impacted me in a lot of different ways. Made a lot of good friendships through the youth group and gotten close to a lot of people on mission trips. And my faith has definitely grown through all the work we've done on mission trips and all the trips we've been on. Next year when I get to college, I plan on finding a church, hopefully a Methodist church somewhere in Lawrence, and then possibly joining a Christian involvement group on campus. I'd say one of my biggest role models would have to be Dustin Buell. He's definitely helped me further my faith through all the lessons he's done with the Christ for Life youth group and Bible studies and all the lessons he's taught us on mission trips and so on. Rock chalk.
Do you say go Royals too?
Oh, no.
My name is Dakota Brady. I'm going to North Central Missouri College in Trenton, and then for 2 years, and then transferring to Missouri Western. I came to the Sunday youth groups 2 years ago. Gunner invited me over, and then kind of enjoyed being around people, and then learn about God with the friends that I'm close to and all that, and people I know. Almost a getaway spot to renew my faith, so to speak. My favorite memory for the youth groups were the lock-in. It brought me closer to a lot of people. I got to know a lot of people who went here. The church has impacted my life a lot. It's brought me a lot of happiness and brought me a lot of strength to get through any challenges that go through my life, which is part of the reasons I go to the Sunday youth groups, is to strengthen myself for harder times.
My name is Burnley Faulkner. My parents are Lance and Amy Faulkner, and next year I will be attending the University of Pennsylvania to study nursing. I've sporadically come to UMC with my friend Andrew Willard, but it wasn't until this year when I first started coming on a regular basis on Sunday nights. This summer I plan on going on the Idaho mission trip as well as the Texas mission trip for flight training. My favorite memory is playing Mafia on Sunday nights and Gunner always having a Fluffy the Cat story as the reason why he's not the killer. Being in a church, being at this church, has really given me a sense of community and people that I can lean on to help me religiously or with any other problems that I've had in my life. And it's just a really good foundation to have. To continue my faith, I will be attending a church. I've done a little bit of research for what kind of churches that they have in Philly that is close to campus, but I'll really just kind of be exploring, which ones I like, which ones I don't like, and just continuing my faith on the East Coast. The people that I think are most influential in my spiritual life are my parents. I have been given a very good people as role models that I've grown up with literally since my birth, and I could not be more appreciative of my parents.
My name is Jack Willard. I plan to attend Northwest Missouri State in Maryville next year. My parents are Phil and Debbie Willard. I first started attending back when I was a baby, before I remember I was coming to this church. I've been involved in youth group, mission trips through the years, confirmation, When I was younger, I was also involved in God Squad as well as some of the Bible studies that we had on Wednesdays. One of my favorite memories is back in middle school when we went to St. Louis on a mission trip. That was probably the most memorable trip I've been on with this church. The church has been there for me every Sunday, and not just Sundays, but Sundays, Wednesday mornings. The church has supported me in athletic events and all the decisions I made with schools and family and everything. I plan to attend a United Methodist Church up in Maryville and then attend a youth group once or twice a week. There's been lots of role models for me through the years. Dustin, ever since he's been here, has been kind of the leader and who I've grown up with. But to go along with that, Dave Rogers and Troy Figg were Sunday school teachers that I remember very well and giving great teachings. And Mr. Tim Marsh has been our FCA leader and all throughout high school. I know I've been with him a lot, and he's been really influential to me.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Go Bearcats.